In the book Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck, the main characters are George and Lenny. George is a bit smaller and weaker, while Lenny is big and muscular. Although Lenny is big, he has a mental disability which plays a big part in this book. The story starts off with the two of them walking along a path. George reminds Lenny that they will be working on a new ranch, so he must listen to him. George does not want the same thing to happen as to what happened in Weed. Then it is brought up that Lenny's Aunt Clara gave pet mice to Lenny, but he snapped their necks trying to pet them. We now know that Lenny has no control over his own strength. They sit down and get ready for supper. Lenny asks George for ketchup, which led to George losing his temper and giving Lenny a big speech. He complained about how much better he would be off without Lenny. He brought up an incident that occurred at Weed. After calming down, George realizes that he shouldn't have taken his temper out on Lenny and cheers him up with a story about their future dream.
Lenny and George have finally reached their destination, the new ranch. They had arrived and met an old guy by the name of Candy who happens to have a missing hand. Candy shows George and Lenny around the ranch, telling where they'll work, what's going to happen, and what they'll do. They later meet the boss of the ranch. After the cover-up, we meet the boss's son, Curly, who is somewhat of a boxer and comes in with that tough and rugged mentality. When Candy leaves, he tells Lenny to never go near Curly, to try to avoid him. And if Curly touches Lenny, George wants Lenny to beat him up. If any bad things happen, they always had the safe spot by the brush. All of a sudden, Curly's wife entered the building, and Lenny noticed her first. The main goal that Lenny and George really want is to get the money and get a ranch in which they can own and live prosperously.
After a day of work, Slim and George head to the bunkhouse. They continue talking and Slim agrees to give a pup to Lenny. George thanks him. Slim replies with an appreciation of his own about George's friendship with Lenny. He talks about how it's nice to see that someone actually cares in this world. Lenny enters the bunkhouse carrying his puppy. George guilts him for taking the puppy away from his mother. Eventually, Candy and Carlson come in and Carlson begins complaining about Candy's dog.
It is a Saturday evening. Crooks sits on his bunk in the harness room. He's an African-American stable hand who has a crooked back. Lenny appears in the doorway and Crooks tells him to go away, saying that since he's black, he can't go into the white man's room, then neither can the white man come into his. Lenny doesn't understand what Crooks says, so he comes in anyways. Candy enters the room where Crooks insists on them taking him with them, but Curly's wife interrupts them and asks, "Where's her husband?" She asks them what happened to Curly's hand, because they told her his hand got caught in a machine, but she doesn't believe them, and started to tease Lenny about his bruises on his face. And as the white man left Crooks' room, he yells that, "I wouldn't want to go to no place like that." Hey George, hey Slim, say, either you guys got a slug of whiskey?
I'll be back in a few. What is that smell?
Dad, I've been around him for as long as I can remember. I smell nothing.
I can't stand him. Shoot him.
Well, hell! I had him for so long since he was a pup. I ain't shooting him.
Look, Candy, I might as well shoot him for you. If I suffer all the goddamn time, I would want to be shot too.
No, you can't.
Shoot him, and you won't notice a thing. Right in the back of the head. Hey, maybe I can just shoot him right now. Put him out of his misery. What do you say, King?
We ain't got no gun. Let's wait until tomorrow.
Alright, take him.
Won't even feel it. George has told me to not talk to you.
It's fine. All the ranch hands are occupied with their horseshoe tournament. You're safe to talk with me. Oh my! Don't worry, Lenny. There's a war full of mutts. Nothing compared to my problems, Lenny.
What do you mean?
nothing came of it, I decided to marry Curly. But I don't like him. He's not nice.
That's sad. I'm worried I might not be able to tend the rabbits.
What's with you and rabbits?
I like touching soft things with my fingers.
Oh my goodness. That's my hair.
George! Oh my god. Hope he gets locked up. Hope he gets treated well. I don't think so. Curly will have him surely killed.
Can you and Lenny still buy the farm?
The dream always seemed out of reach for me, but I stayed positive for Lenny. Just to make sure no one thinks I was part of this, I'll act surprised when the news is delivered.
Okay.
Lenny! George! I came back to the spot you wanted me to.
Good.
I did another bad thing.
Doesn't make no difference.
Ain't you gonna give me hell?
Give you hell?
Sure, like you always done. Like if I didn't have you before, I'd take my $50.
Jesus Christ, Lenny, you can't remember nothing that happens, but you remember every word I said.
How about us?
But not us, because I've got you.
And you got me. That's what gives a hoot in hell about us.
Yeah, we'll get a little place.
We gotta get a place. We gotta. Oh.
What? Oh. Bygones is bygones.
But when nothing came of it, I decided to marry Curly. But I don't like him. He's not nice.
Hey George, hey Slim, either you shut the f up, you fucking asshole, just stop. Hey George, hey Slim.
You shark? Dad, I've been around him for as long as I remember. So bad. I've been around him as long as I can remember.
Well, I can't stand him, bro. Shoot him.
I didn't finish my line. So funny. Bad. I've been around him for the longest as I can remember. I forgot my line.
Oh
I don't
my!
know. I've been around him for as long as I can remember. I ain't smelled nothing.
No! Go!
Okay, hold on. Man, it's dark as hell. Dude, what's that smell? Get that dog out of here. George just told me to not talk to you. It's fine.
Dude, you're still a bad boy.
Oh shoot, Zane's in the background.
Bruh! Dude, I'm not doing this again. Oh, you want me to tell you to get out of here?
Yeah. Bro, Zane's in the way.
Swear to God, bro, get out of here!
She did in my pocket. Kick her out the door. She did in my pocket. She did in my boat. My belly go out there.
Zane, bro, you actually get out of here. Go. Go away. Take your phone with you.
Okay, I got all my phones.
I'm done.
A feeling about you. Even though I'm doing well, I lose my touch without you. I hate to hurt you, camera showing everything that I do. I gotta She always held me down. She always held me down. way before I found my sound.
I say you're gonna be saying tell about us, but not, and then I say but not us, cause I got.
Shouldn't I take like 50 bucks and like kill you and leave? No, what? No. Just out it.
How about us?
But I got you and we got
Oh, the gazelle.